Welcome to your source for research, innovation, news, insights, and commentary. Welcome to your Research Business Daily Report, where we're sponsored today and this week by Nuance, offering multi-language verbatim coding services that help companies quantify the meaning of open-ended answers. Nuance, a decision analyst company. We can't seem to escape news about big data, even though much of it is negative and very repetitive. Over and over again, I see news items that journalistically bludgeon big data for how difficult it is to implement. But to be fair, most of that is attributable to a lack of a proven capability to bring disparate data together for all the companies that would like to do so. Yesterday, I came across a new IBM study which was unique in that it had both positive and negative angles, and as well some underlying implications, I thought. 94% of enterprise CMOs in this study believe big data analytics will either make or break their organizations in the near future. I read that as a no-holds-barred buy-in of big data. However, here's the very dark cloud. 82% of these same CMOs admit their companies are not able to take advantage of all the information they've already collected from customers. So on the one hand, you've got major big data buy-in, but it's counterbalanced by an inability by companies to do anything with big data. And what makes the 82% figure so interesting on top of that is what it signals to me about senior level executive relationships inside corporations. The study's CMO self-admission about data handling shortcomings should be particularly disturbing news to CEOs because they rely more and more on their CMOs for marketing expertise. And in this study, 63% of CEOs involve their CMOs in their business strategy process, and they say that those companies tend to perform better overall. So, can it be that CEOs do not know about the CMO's data frustrations and limitations? It's highly doubtful. And that opens a corporate can of worms or a big opportunity, depending on your point of view. The onus to search and to find the workable big data solution for every corporation is going to be shared by the CEO and the CMO. That must be found, and it makes the next few years for top marketing organizations especially interesting from that big data progress vantage point. If you're a vendor with a proven big data solution, first of all, tell us about it, and then expect to be sitting pretty and counting a lot of money moving forward. Next, what would you estimate is the financial benefit to a business if it makes significant use of online customer data? Research Live reported that inside the data wars, a study from a company called Nesta shows that businesses that make extensive use of online data are 8% more productive. Additionally, the study says that businesses that give employees greater autonomy to make business decisions gain a productivity premium from data use, and it's almost 4 times higher than companies that are completely reliant on centralized decision making. Finally today, Bill Harvey is back, and we're happy to have him, and he makes the point about neuroscience getting researchers part of the way into the unconscious decision-making of consumers. He also shares with us other means to close that insight loop.
I think the key word is motivations. It's very hard using neuroscience to measure motivations. Neuroscience is able to measure the speed of information processing. It's able to measure arousal, intensity of arousal, valence of sentiment, positive, negative, attraction, retreat, but it's not able to measure motivations. And so neuroscience often uses a question battery, returning to questioning the conscious mind about what their motivations might be, or to a more subtle scale that can be used to get at motivations, but it's still self-reported data. I believe we can get at motivations best through behavioral data, observing behavior, and by categorizing behavior, if it's in relation to screen content, such as ads or programs, using meta tags. You could take toothpaste ads and you could code them as to whether they're basically pitching breath freshening or tooth whitening or decay prevention. And then you can observe, let's say you have set-top box data, you can observe switch-away rates to those commercials. Let's say you have purchase data. You could observe, are they responding to the ads by purchasing a brand that they weren't purchasing before based on an ad that was about decay prevention or about something else. So behavior can become a clue to motivation and get past the fact that the conscious mind is not fully aware of what the unconscious mind is doing. Interestingly, years ago, working with Timothy Joyce at TGI and MRI, it was interesting to observe. I had created this program called Story Finder, where you take a big questionnaire like MRI, where there's 1,000 questions, and you take any target group, let's say men 25 to 44 who play video games or whatever, and then you rank all of the things that have a high index against that group, magazines, TV shows, other products, and so on. And you kind of get a profile, a behavioral profile in a way, of what those people are like. And the TV shows turned out to be more psychologically insightful than anything else. The kinds of shows people are related to tell a lot about the person, because they are essentially selecting out their own audience. One of my collaborators, Americus Reed, professor at Wharton, has been doing work in why people select certain content. And it's got a lot to do with their self-image and establishing something about their own self, owning themselves, and understanding how they're trying to move toward their ideal self, which they kind of see reflected in the characters in whatever shows they pick out. This is all unconscious stuff, but it's detectable by observing the shows people watch. If you meta-tag the shows, we had 3 successful trials, all in the same period of time. We meta-tagged 1,000 shows. This was at a time when we had set-top box data. So we meta-tagged the shows, and we went through this process of recommending to people shows that they should like. On a scale, they then responded, over 90% of them said that they were very glad that they had been given these recommendations, that they were watching these shows and liked them. 90% satisfaction blew the minds of the cable operators, who were used to lower satisfaction scores. We had stumbled upon the underlying motivations of how people unconsciously select TV shows. We then sent that list of 279 to Meg Blair. She had 35,000 copy tests in her database. She had one of her staff spend a year applying our meta tags to these 35,000 copy tests, looking for a correlation with persuasion scores. 12 of our tags were positively correlated with persuasion scores, and she called them validated drivers. So my point is, as we try to get to the subconscious and the unconscious, whichever term you prefer, neuroscience is a way of getting part of the way there. But if we want to add meaning to that, diagnostics, if we want to be able to give advice to creatives about how to make things better, it can't just be about intensity of arousal or even positive negative valence. We have to understand the nuances.
Thanks again, Bill. And for those of you who'd like to know more, you can reach him at Bill Harvey at BillHarveyConsulting.com. That's your Research Business Daily Report, sponsored by Nuance, offering multi-language verbatim coding services to help companies quantify the meaning of open-ended answers. Nuance, a decision analyst company. There's a link so that you can find out more about Nuance. It's in both the email that we sent out to subscribers today and also in the content box underneath today's video. Have a great research day, and please join us again tomorrow.